A Friday night at the local video store. If you grew up in the 1980s or 90s, you saw it every time you rented a movie. 3 simple words: be kind, rewind. Now today, that phrase probably doesn't mean much to younger folks. Movies just appear instantly on a screen. But back then, getting a movie was an event. And if you grew up like I did here in South Louisiana, a trip to the video store on a Friday night was almost a tradition. For us, that place had a name: Video Rama. And if you lived around here back then, you probably knew exactly where it was. Somebody in the house would say it. "Y'all want to go rent a movie?" And just like that, we'd pile into the car and head into town. When you pulled up, the lights were glowing through those big glass windows, and sometimes a neon "open" sign buzzed in the corner. And when you walked inside, man, it was like stepping into another world. Row after row of movies, hundreds of them, all lined up in those plastic cases with the covers facing out so you could see them. Action movies, comedies, horror movies you probably weren't supposed to watch. And the new releases, those were always the first ones everybody checked. One thing that made our local store famous around here was a deal everybody loved. You could rent 3 movies for $5. Back then, that felt like you were getting away with something. 3 movies meant you had the whole weekend covered. 1 for Friday night, 1 for Saturday, and maybe 1 more Sunday afternoon before you had to bring them back. You'd walk the aisles, slowly reading the backs of the boxes, trying to decide what to watch. Half the time you'd go in thinking you knew exactly what movie you wanted. But when you got there, somebody had already rented it. And if the tape wasn't behind the display case, that meant you were out of luck. You'd stand there staring at that empty slot like it had personally offended you. Then the negotiations would begin. "What about this one?" "No, I saw that already." "That one looks stupid." Somehow, after walking the aisles 3 or 4 times, everybody would finally agree on something. And of course, you couldn't leave without stopping by the snack section. Back then, every good video store had one. At Video Rama, they had slush puppies, candy bars, and popcorn. Sometimes you'd grab one of those bright-colored slush puppies that would freeze your brain the first sip. Maybe a candy bar or a bag of popcorn to go with the movie. Everything cost a little more than it did at the grocery store, but nobody cared, because that was just part of the Friday night ritual. Movie, snacks, and a whole weekend ahead of you. And if you spilled that slush puppy in the car on the way home, somebody was definitely getting fussed at. You'd bring the movie home, slide that VHS tape into the VCR, and hear that familiar mechanical sound as the machine grabbed the tape. Then, for the next hour or 2, the whole family would sit down together and watch something we had all picked out. And when the movie was over, there was one rule: you better not forget to rewind the tape before bringing it back. Some places would charge you extra. So, you'd hit the rewind button and listen to that tape spin backwards inside the VCR, making that fast, whirling sound while you waited. Today, everything is instant. Thousands of movies sitting right in our pockets. But I don't think anything will ever quite replace those Friday nights. Walking through the aisles of Video Rama, looking at all those movie covers, trying to pick just one, and bringing it home to watch with the people sitting right there in the room with you. Sometimes the simple things were the best things. And if you remember those days, you probably remember the rule: be kind, rewind.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.